An Unexpected Wedding Invitation is a new mystery adventure by Midnight Tower, inspired by Jane Austen. Hello and welcome to Midnight Tower's new epic Kickstarter featuring
a romantic mystery adventure inspired by none other than
Jane Austen. Join us! Please join the Kickstarter. Please join the Kickstarter. Please join the Kickstarter.
wow.
Do you really think anyone will support this project?
No
What have we done?
Two, one. There we go. Now, hopefully, we should all be in the right spots. You'll be able to hear us and see us. Hello, welcome to Band of Badgers. I am Dave, your host for this interview kind of thing. We're doing a little bit more. So, previously, you may have seen TOVE and ERIK from Midnight Tower. They are returning for another round, another battering of question and answers from us, from the live audience, from questions we had been sent in. But TOVE, ERIK, how are you both? How are you doing? You've kind of both had COVID. How are you doing? Are you in one piece?
Except for the COVID, we're fine.
It's just past COVID and one present case COVID here. So beyond that, we're doing great.
Good. Now, if you didn't know, TOVE and ERIK are the creators of basically they're indie publishers called the Midnight Tower. They're based here in the UK. And no lie, they've created a series of, this is the most recent Kickstarter, a series of these wonderful books. It's 5e, 5th edition. They are fantastic series. They are really gorgeous stories. They're written well. There's fantastic original artwork in them. Do go and check them out. You can check them out at, is it Drive-Thru? It's got in my head, Drive-Thru RPG or RPG Drive-Thru. One of those is correct.
It's Drive-Thru RPG.
There we go. The links will be in live chat so you can see. So do go and check them out. Joining me as always is co-host Steve. How you doing, Steve?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Good. Nice to know. So if you have a question for TOVE and ERIK, please do put it into the live chat. Start it with question, just so Steve can kind of spot it. And then we'll put it in and we'll ask them. However, they're free to kind of, if they spot a question, they're free to kind of answer it if they wish to. Now, with all of that out of the way, I'll put my book back because I like it behind me. Now, your most recent Kickstarter has not just launched, but launched this week. Launched on Tuesday. Today, what's the date? Today's Friday. I've nearly lost it. Today's Friday. You've already hit your target, which is amazing and fantastic. You've already got some stretch goals unlocked, and away we go. How are you feeling about this? Other than being infected and kind of delirious with hot and cold temperatures, how are you doing? This is your 7th or 8th Kickstarter.
7th, yeah.
The 7th successful Kickstarter. It's already hit target in the first week. We still have a whole, 4 weeks to go?
Yeah, I know. I think it's bizarre, but I'm very happy. We've been overwhelmed with the support for this Kickstarter. Because I thought it would be me and 3 people who were sort of like, yay, Jane Austen, Dungeons and Dragons. But apparently that's not really the case. So... no, it's fantastic. I think to be fair, I also have a little bit of a fever, so everything is a little bit delirious in my mind. But I'm incredibly happy and overwhelmed, I think is the word, really.
Well, we have while you're talking there, we have a picture of the book kind of behind you. So the new book is called An Unexpected Wedding Invitation. This is set outside of the kind of the ongoing story that we've been used to. So fans who have been following Midnight Tower now for a while, it starts with Call of the Wild, which you can pick up for free right now. You can download the PDF for free right now, and you can check out all the artwork. You can check out their writing style and everything else. But this is the latest book. But this is something a little bit different. This is based on Jane Austen. So, why?
I don't know really. We've done a couple of mystery adventures before, and they tend to sort of, and then we have this sort of like inspired by. So we did the Lovecraft one. That was the first one inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, and then we did Edgar Allan Poe, which is more like gothic and sort of like Curse of Strahd type of, but without any vampires. And both of those are mystery murders, and we've done a traditional one, which isn't in print, but it's kind of more Agatha Christie. And then, I mean, we could have done like Bram Stoker's or Shelley or something, which would be more in the same type of line. But then I was like, you know what, I really want to do it. Wouldn't it be nice to have like a fantasy wedding, like a mystery at a fantasy wedding where you can go around and maybe interact with NPCs, and it might not be that you find yourself a partner, but maybe friendship. Or so I think the general idea came from that, and before I knew it, I talked you into it, and we've done a Kickstarter about it. So,
yeah, there wasn't much talking into needed really, because it's just intriguing concept. It was all your idea, obviously, but as soon as you said it, I'm like, I didn't expect that. But the more I thought about it, the more appealing it became. So it's
what's not to love?
No,
it's
exactly.
like Elvish wedding, nice outfits, NPCs, a cozy mystery. I don't know. I like the idea. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
And we read much. So I mean, you're obviously the biggest Jane Austen and period literature reader of us two. But we both read it. We both enjoy the literature and the films. So it felt like a given pretty soon. I just had in mind we were going to do something very, very conventional, something like wilderness and castles and dungeons. And like.
I mean, that's the beauty with mysteries, that you can sort of like take a walk on the wild side a little bit.
Yes.
So yeah.
I mean, there's I was trying to think of, like we were talking about it before we went on air, which is kind of weird to say on air, but we were talking about how it's so nice to have something refreshing, something positive to look for. So D&D books or 5e in general, or fantasy role-playing games, it's all about slaughtering goblins, dungeon crawls and everything else. And with everything that's just going on, UK is coming out of 2 years pandemic, everyone's kind of slowly going back to work, blah blah blah, and we have a wedding. Now, fair enough, there is a murder at the wedding, and who knows how many who knows how many people are going to die. Is it? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones.
No, none of that. It's very ungory.
So that's one thing but it's kind of, and I wasn't sure how well this was going to be received, and even for me, and I'm again like you, massive fan of D&D, and I'm like, really, Jane Austen in D&D? I'm not sure if this is going to work. But then seeing the artwork and seeing the bits and pieces and the stuff that you've been sending over, and I'm looking forward to it. And weirdly, because we've been talking about, we got a Witchlight campaign coming up soon, where it's all the fun of the carnival. It's full of colour and like not just fairies and butterflies and everything, but the amount of colour and fun and happy cheer. And it ties in with that. We don't necessarily need another dungeon crawl, or something that's just gonna bring you down. And okay, exhausting. This time you get to go to a wedding. It's kind of nice.
I think that's what I liked about it, the general idea, because it's like I honestly really I like dungeon crawls, and slaughtering goblins is always very satisfying. But you
would be welcome in any of our games. That's
yeah, no, it's brilliant. So So, but I do think that it's nice. It can be an adventure either if you just want to do something fun and different, or just take a break. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Barovia and all these sort of like gothic themed adventures, but it's just nice to have something different. And with the murder mysteries, I felt like here's a possibility to do that and sort of to expand it a little bit and do something which is very, very far away from H.P. Lovecraft. And yeah, then we have some like amazing artists on board for this project as well. So initially when I wrote it, I was like, oh, yeah, I think this can work. But then I started seeing the artwork. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in love with that NPC. And I think it's going to be a really nice book. So.
And it was so much fun talking to our artists about this when we gave them the brief. It's like, oh, so we have this rather unusual ideas for this adventure. It's got blah, 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 blah. And they all went like, oh yes, I got this. Just give it to me. I'll get right back to you. And they came up with this beautiful artwork.
It is. That artwork of the couple standing under the thing with the flowers and everything, it is good. A fantastic use of colour as well. The purple is always a fantastic colour to use in fantasy. And it's beautifully executed. We did have a question in live chat from Ivonica, who you've kind of almost answered it. It says, what was the inspiration for making a Jane Austen adaptation? But what was the spark? What made you go, oh, that could work?
I think initially I was toying around with ideas for a mystery adventure. I think so I knew I wanted to do a mystery adventure, and I was thinking about like, oh, maybe I could do some sort of like Arthur Conan Doyle. And then I thought about Sherlock and how one episode in Sherlock in the series, TV series, they are at the wedding for. So it's like, oh, that would be kind of nice to have a mystery going on at a wedding, And then at the same time, somehow in the back of my mind, it's like, but do a Jane Austen one. I was like, yes, that's a good idea. So I think my muse just read a lot of Jane Austen lately, so I was talked into it.
Cool.
Do you think it might be something you continued as a theme in between writing, your adventures in trilogies? If you do these almost one-shot size books, you've gone for Jane Austen. You talked about doing the Lovecraftian thing already. Would you do something with Agatha Christie maybe and go full-on murder mystery? Murder on the Orient Express in Fantasyland.
Yeah.
We have done so far. We've done. This is our fourth mystery that we've done. The first one was more like a classic one. That's the one I call Agatha Christie one.
Right.
That one is not available in print, but it is available as a PDF, and we will eventually make it available in print. We just haven't really come around to do that. And then we have the two other ones. That's Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe, and now Jane Austen. I think I really like mystery adventure, both playing it and writing it. It's also something that I'm not saying that I'm especially good at it, but it does take quite a lot of time. So for a lot of DMs, it's kind of nifty to just pick it up and like, oh, okay. Obviously, you need to read it and do a little bit of preparation, but you don't have to, think about the whole plot and the whole structure, which can be quite daunting, especially if you're a new DM. So I think we're going to continue writing these mysteries, and it's a nice little break between the trilogies, because that's quite a lot of hard work. It's like 160, 170 pages. These thinner sort of like one shot, they are set in between the adventures if you want to, or you can just drop them in wherever you want. So yeah, we'll probably do more mysteries adventures, I think.
Very likely.
Yeah. I have started planning the next one.
I can imagine.
There we go. Maybe we can tease some of that later on. Now you mentioned, I want to kind of go back to the beginning, because I think we said this off camera. The first one is Call of the Wild, which is part of the Hunter's Moon trilogy. Now, why was this a collection of your own round the table stories, and then you've kind of gone, that was really fun, I'll write it out as an adventure and see if I can get it published? Or was this completely, the Hunter's Moon trilogy, was this completely original, not what your game table did?
It's set in the same world where we play. So Eastern Faraway is a part of our world that we've been playing in for, well, the entire setting is Eastern Faraway, Western Faraway, Northern Faraway, and then Southern Faraway, where we haven't really been that much. But we started playing in this world, I don't know, like 20 years ago, something ridiculous like that. So it's set in the same world, but we haven't actually, these are adventures, some of the adventures we've played with our group, but the initially one was just like, we wanted to write adventures because we thought it would be just fun to share it, really. And we set it in a sort of like very traditional sort of, there is a small village and there is an inn and, something has happened. It's very sort of classic and familiar, and you meet up and you get a quest and you have to figure it out. And then it sort of leads on to the rest of but each trilogy has its own little theme, if you want to. So the first one is like wilderness, the second one is Drowse, obviously, and the Underdark. And then you have the Ice Dragons, you travel more north, Prophecy of Nine Omens, which is in theory maybe the last one potentially. It is right now, at least. We'll see what happens next. So yeah.
Just to shout out to everyone who's watching live with us. If you have a question, do stick it into live chat. Just put question before it so we can see it, and then we can shout them out. And again, if Toby and Eric see your question, we've got a bit of a giveaway going on. Is that correct?
Yes,
that is correct. Yes, we have a set of really nice dice from Critic UK that we'll give away. I don't know if you can
set of dice. Everyone loves dice.
Yes.
Especially free dice when it's their collection.
Those are the best dice.
Yeah. So what did we come up with? What did we agree on? How are we gonna pick the winner?
The best question.
Okay. So see now we have comments coming in. You see, free dice to win if you ask the best question. Now this isn't gonna. We might save it to the end, but if we get a question that's just like everything, Toby and Eric will pick a winner, and then we'll collect your details. Steve's there. We'll collect your details, and that will get sent over to Toby and Eric. And they will send you the dice when they're ready. Now, loads of stuff is just coming to chat.
It worked.
So I can post a picture of the dice. Which ones are they?
There's a link in Zoom chat, Steve. But you might have been before you.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Boom. So you can get the picture done. Who wrote this one? Ivonica, what have been some of your largest struggles, hiccups, while writing the mysteries?
When did you break your wrist? That was a hiccup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that mainly affected the drawings. Actually.
Yeah, but still, a rather big hit. COVID is a hiccup. No, it's for the mysteries. That's a really good question.
Is it the winning question?
It has a very good potential.
So contender right there. Wow, more questions. Right, struggles, hiccup, writing mysteries. You are, the.
I was going to say, are you going to answer this?
No, I won't. But I'm just saying, you're the plot master.
I think it has to do. One of the struggles is to find the loopholes, find where you tend to write and you have it in your head and you can see the whole story in your head, sort of like a film. Well, okay, I can. Maybe I sound crazy now, but I see it like a film in my head, and I'm like, oh no, and then that's gonna happen, and then that clip, and then I go like, hang on, wait, here's a mistake. So you're like, okay, but how can that character know that beforehand when this hasn't happened? So it's about finding mistakes and sort of like go back in time so you can on an early but you have to sort of make sure that you kind of neat and clever when you write this. You don't go, So if you find something you want to sort of, that is a mistake, you can adjust it by filling in the blank on an earlier stage. So say, for example, that, you know, the murder couldn't have been at the same place, couldn't have been at that place because he was supposed to be in the kitchen or whatever. Then you can go back and make sure he isn't in the kitchen. You know, it could be things like that, but also, so you have to make sure that it all makes sense, that it's like waterproof. And I think that one way also of testing it, play testing it, is brilliant, because especially with Before the Stroke of Midnight that we play test, and it's like, actually that is super clever, I'm gonna just steal that idea. So I think finding the loopholes and making sure that it's like reasonably waterproof, you know, or watertight, so that you know that it's a coherent story, so it's not blatantly obvious that you missed something really important.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very long explanation for something, but yeah, that's
I think any kind of mystery, it's a puzzle, and when you try to you write out a puzzle, it's a lot harder to write it than it is to think it. So you can conceptualize a puzzle really easy.
Yeah.
It's just there. Trying to write it out in a way that someone else can understand it with all the different angles of what they have to do is actually very, very tricky. It's a skill in itself. There's a few comments in chat about the murderer was me in the study with my dice, because my dice are lethal. Okay, I got brand new dice a few weeks back. They are lethal, and no, you cannot take them away from me. So that's we got a few questions coming in. Here's a good question. This is Mark Walters, who's in live chat. Question: how does the party resolve the mysteries? So, do the players have to figure it out? Do the characters have to roll to solve clues? Or the final comment was, or do you just punch the bad guy until the mystery is solved? How are we going to Scooby-Doo this stuff? So,
yeah, it's a lot of feedback we've received, which is really enjoyable to read, is when people get back to us and tell us, oh, hey, so this is how our group solved or didn't solve the problem.
Oh,
yeah, and you get that really provides us with an insight in how many different takes there can be on this. So some people, for example, Before the Stroke of Midnight, which is set in a remote castle full of quirky characters, and it's a very rundown castle, and you go there thinking, all right, we're going to go to town on this mystery, and we're going to be very, very deductive, you know, analytic. And when I was part of the playtesting group, and as soon as you have the descriptions and you think everyone is a suspect, right? Oh, how do we go about this? So, but from that point on, there's so many things that can happen. Typically, it's never a matter of having to roll dice. Mm-hmm. It's more about figuring things out. Because what you really want to avoid is a situation where you can fail a check and therefore not crack the mystery, because that would not be very rewarding. Mm-hmm. It's also very rarely about punching the bad guy before the bad guy is sort of identified. After you identified the bad guy.
To be fair, that was exactly what you did, though.
My group, not me. That was
because you just freaked out and then you stormed into the sitting room and bashed one of the characters with a doll. I was like, how is this? You know, okay.
Well, that was a very random situation, but this is.
It was very practical, though.
It was very effective and also very strange. But this is more based on the feedback that we've got. So it's usually a case of people trying to interact with NPCs. Mm-hmm. So there is a task for the dungeon master running these adventures to really sort of try to embody these NPCs and give them all these quirks and flares.
The hardest thing for me is when I'm running a game with multiple NPCs, is the voices. The quirks you can do, or mannerisms or tics, whatever. It's the different voices, and you try to do different voices, which means the linguistic skills just go everywhere, and they just sound like everyone else. I think I'm Scottish, suddenly I'm Irish, I'm West Country. I don't know where I am anymore, and it's really hard. Like 5 or more characters, it's really impossible. But doing quirks, mannerisms, And people laugh. People doing things like you can do a Yoda. I'm actually going to be doing a Yoda voice for one of the Witchlight characters. But it's a great way of bringing that character to life because everyone knows what you mean. It's the wizened old fool. Here's the Yoda's voice. Says things kind of backwards, but the meaning you understand the meaning essentially. And I love all that. There was we've got a load of questions coming in. Just to remind everyone, all of the Midnight Tower books, which are already out. So this is just the current one we're talking about. It's the latest Kickstarter. The other books, like this one, which was the previous Kickstarter, Secrets of the Drow Trilogy, they are all available on Drive-Thru RPG. Which one is it, Steve?
It's Drive-Thru RPG, and there is a link in chat at the moment.
So they're all available there. And just in case you missed it, this one, Call of the Wild, part 1 of the Hunter's Moon trilogy, is available for free download now. So just go there, download it. It's free. You'll love it. It's a great story. Frostwolf is bad for level 1. I've playtested it. It was like, oh, that's gonna sting. That's good. And of course there's Dave. So you'll get to meet all these fantastical names, but the innkeeper is simply called Dave.
I was gonna rename him, but now I can't.
No, you can't.
So
It's me. It's me. He's gonna talk like a South Londoner. It's
he's
me.
always off camera though. Because Rose is always the one who's that.
I've changed that in my story. That's fine. In my version, it's so much easier to do me. All right, have a seat. What do you want? You want some beer? Here you go. You want a quest? All right, then. There's a Frostwolf down it. There's a crazy old dwarf in the corner. Go see him. He's looking for a box. So there's loads of kind of things we can do. So do go and check them out. You will absolutely love their stories. If you want to know more about Midnight Tower, check out their website, but also check out our YouTube channel because they've also been on before. We've asked them questions and answers before. It was about the Drow, Secrets of the Drow trilogy, which is a fantastic story. Well worth picking up as well. Right, more questions.
I saw one that I really want to answer.
Yeah, go for it,
It was so quick and easy. So Ivona asked, do you write the mysteries campaigns you tend to write? Do you write it backwards?
Yes.
And that's exactly what I do. So I figure it out and I run it in my head and then I go like, okay, yes. So I know sort of like if it's a mystery, I'm like, that's the villain. And then I just trickle it backwards. So I do that in all types of, it's a really good way of making the story coherent, and also you can divide it and later up into the 3-act structure, which I often follow. So that one was really simple to answer, and it was a really good question.
But was it a great question?
I think it's definitely a very good question.
Okay.
You can pick one if you want to.
Yeah. We've got a load of questions coming up. You might have to scroll to get some of the hard ones. Mark Walters was saying, when I do British accents, I sound about as bad as Dick Van Dyke. Well, that's what we all do.
I read a piece of advice about dungeon mastering, and I think it's quite handy, and especially given some people out there, Matt Mercer, not least, being fantastic voice actors, and you see them on stream all the time. And I can do like one voice, that's my own. I can't really do voices. But one advice I read is that if you can pick an actor, or not an actor, a character from a film in advance. So if you have like a set of NPCs, you tie these NPCs to very distinct characters from like Pirates of the Caribbean, whatever, really strong characters. And whenever your players are interacting with this particular NPC, you pull up that in your head and you sort of mimic that. You don't have to do the voice, it's just the mannerisms and the words they use usually come pretty.
Yeah, but I think you can also, because I'm not really good at, I tend to make weird accents, but I can't really copy them. It's more like, they say, and things like that. But otherwise I describe it like, well, he sounds a little bit like Agent Smith from The Matrix. So I start with that, and then I sort of like, this is what he's actually saying. So, because I can't copy Scottish accents.
No, same.
Mr. Smith is very, very pronounced. Mr. Anderson.
Hugo Weaving.
Great voice. Big Tough Pete is in the audience. He's saying, Highlander, anyone? I stashed my gear in a brown attaché case. You old Spanish peacock. Big Tough Pete is one of our players in Epic Encounters. Our current Epic Encounters, who's playing Sean Connery.
Wow.
And it's just as bad as mine.
Just going back to the start when we talked about the overwhelming support you've had for this Kickstarter. Cause you got 26 days to go. It's already fully funded by a lot. Did this one feel different to the rest?
Well, when we hit launch, I was super nervous because I kind of talked you into the whole thing, pretty much, and pretty much. So I think, when we did Secrets of the Draw, we're like, people will like this, and it's Dark Elves, and we did the PDF ages ago, and there's like people have asked about it, like, when are you gonna do it for print? And we're like, eventually, So when we did Secrets of the Draw, I was pretty not like overconfident, but reasonably sure that would go reasonably well. With this one, I had no idea, and I felt like so nervous when the entire day I was like, freaking out now, what have I done? So I would say that was and that's why I think the shock from that sort of like, I'm freaked out, to what's happening. It's a huge curve, actually.
It's not a curve, it's just a trajectory straight up.
It's when you wake up and it's just be a dream. That's what it is.
That's why I'm afraid of, because I'm having this fever now, so I'm like, maybe it is just a dream, and then later on I will wake up, and hopefully not.
There's a lot of stuff there. There's another question we have coming in from Lily of the Vanguard. The question is, what will we be voting on in the next Backer's Choice?
A good one.
That's a good one. We will probably wait with doing the Backer Choice, because because we've been unlocking stretch goals at incredible speed. We will probably wait with doing that next week. I think we're gonna do some sort of giveaway or some name the creature. Depends a little bit, because I need to draw it as well. And then the week after that, we will probably do the vote for stretch goals. If people have suggestions, they can write it in the comments for the Backer update at the Kickstarter, or we will pick something randomly. I would like to see more fantasy outfits, but so that's probably going to be one of the reasons. So I don't know, what do you want?
I'm looking at you here desperately, because I'm not really sure.
Well, I totally want more.
But beyond that, it's not quite.
It could be. We talked about mounts as well, and equipage. So you can have a donkey, or you can have a barouche box, but the fantasy version of a barouche box.
Yeah, a donkey pulling a barouche box.
No.
But ways to arrive at a wedding in style. We're just getting around in general.
Yeah.
It's a nice idea.
Yeah.
But like you said, comments, ideas, much welcome.
We've got, again, for the live audience watching, keep your questions coming. The best question will win a set of dice. Sorry, Steve, I interrupted you there. Go for it.
I was just going to say, so even though you are fully funded now, you can't actually relax, can you? Because you've got all these skills to manage.
No, that's the thing. So, and the pressure is like mountains. So I'm like, okay, now there's so many people who really want this, and it has to be awesome. So, but it will be awesome. It will be awesome.
It's a bit interesting, this one, because we work a lot on these adventures because we love doing it, first and foremost, but also because the creative process is something, it's a shared interest. So we tend to be, working on every page and every paragraph. We don't like, is this really good? Could this be better? And we go back and iterate over and over and over. So we do that for all the adventures, and we're feeling, because people have been so supportive, it's like we really need to deliver. With this one, it's the same thing, but there's an added pressure in that we have had a number of people saying, I'm going to play this at our bridesmaids get together, or at our wedding, or this is my wedding gift to my husband.
I cried over that comment actually.
But that's a nice one. That's a nice one.
Good. So it's this that.
And it has to be on time because I don't think they're gonna get married again. So.
God.
No pressure, of course. You can take that one. See, there's plenty of questions that we missed now.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
okay,
do that one.
Yeah,
shall we pick?
There are a lot. I've just been piling them up in Zoom chat for you.
Yeah, sorry.
You got the most recent one that's just come in is Lily of the Vanguard. Who is your favourite Austen protagonist outside of Pride and Prejudice?
You go.
Probably Emma.
What?
Yeah, Emma herself. Yeah, because I find her very relatable. I think that says a lot about me, I'm afraid. But
Eleanor, obviously, and she is my favorite of all of the books.
We have it.
So, sensible, just like me.
Well, that's the contrast. So yeah.
What else is Big Tough Pete was? What is Austen's best story in your opinion?
Ooh.
So you just you talked about the character. It wasn't the story.
No.
That's a good one.
Lily of the Vanguard also wrote, which Austen characters would you pair up, if not the original ones?
I would pair Wickham with myself. Can I do that?
No pause. That was an immediate answer. Did you rehearse that? Brilliant.
We need just a pause of that clip then. Two different points of view to the same question. That was great. That was a good question. You had a good response from that question. There we go.
Do I win a pair of dice then if I had a good?
Well, you've already got the dice. That's fine.
I'll buy myself a second pair.
So I've got a different question for you. So out of the previous the books, we're here to talk about the new Kickstarter, but also just talking about Midnight Tower in general. So if you have questions about the previous books, do let us know as well. What's been your favourite book to work on that's already out and published and done?
I know my answer. You go.
I'm going to say, obviously, given caveat, I love all of them because there's so much. We've had the opportunity to just pour ideas into all of them, and they're all very close to my heart. But Before the Stroke of Midnight, I'm going to say, because it's just brimming with ghosts.
Yeah.
It's just thematically, it's just something I really liked. Just immersing myself in that particular location and picturing, being there with my character, running around doing all these things and being terrified for 4 hours straight. So, and then obviously editing the whole thing afterwards. So because there's a lot of Poe, so I had the opportunity to go back and read Poe quite some time doing my research before writing it. So yeah, that's me.
And I'm gonna go Secrets of the Drow because I really enjoyed going back to that story because we wrote it 2019 and then we did the Kickstarter last year. And to go back and have all the artwork for it and also fill out the characters a little bit more, especially with Shade, the main villain. And I think, that is Alaina Milnar, our main artist. She's fantastic.
The artwork is good. I mean, the artwork is incredible. The detailing. I mean, did she draw that one as well?
Yes. So that's our main artist, and she's amazing.
You got scale details on this dinosaur thing. You can see the scales, the shading. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Things like her first sketches can be a little bit, but she's also, we tend to give her the weirdest description. Yeah, exactly. It just kind of gets at you from the page. So,
it goes from a pencil sketch to okay, so this looks,
this looks good, and then it just sort of like,
whoa.
And she does all the NPCs for us as well.
Yep.
Absolutely stunning.
So,
I do
So
enjoy
I think that's I have plenty of favorites, but I think that one is definitely very close to my heart. But I really like Dark Elves, and I enjoyed going back to that adventure, sort of like, I know so much more now of how to do this, and just sort of seeing the before and afters. Like, this was the old crappy map. Away with you, and this is a new, improved, and amazing
Here's the new
map.
one. Here's the update. It's like going into HD. You managed to kind of refresh it, put the bits in. So here's my kind of my part two to that question is if those are your favourite books, what one thing would you change in them? But then again, because you've had the chance to go back, you've been able to do that actually.
Yes.
So what was the out of this one especially, because I've got it here, what was the big thing that kind of you've published it, it's out, and you go, but if I could just go back. And
yeah, I think when we wrote it initially, we were like, it's going to be Dark Elves and stuff. And then the main villain was always kind of just a little bit flat. I'm not saying that it was bad, because I don't want to be self-critical. But I think that for when we rewrote it, we had the possibility to really sort of dig deeper into the legend and lore about her, and, what happened, who is she, why is she doing this? So I definitely enjoyed doing that part where you had the possibility to really create a villain, and also foreshadow her earlier from the first adventure.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit, when we did the adventures, we're like, and actually, wait, someone is leading these Dark Elves. So she was introduced later, which created a little bit of a problem story-wise. It was smarter. Yeah, okay, wow. It is clever. It is more smart to introduce a villain early on than sort of adding her, but as a sort of, by the way, there is a villain.
Yeah.
So I think that was a little bit more neatly written, and also the possibility to sort of give her agenda and her background. We did stumble upon a little bit sort of like, okay, well, how does Dark Elves, how does that work with the general Wizards of the Coast discussion about, are Dark Elves monsters, or are they actually, is Drizzt just a sort of like the only one, or how does that work? So we had to sort of have a good think about that, which I thought was quite interesting as well. So yeah.
We also dialed up the deadliness of that trilogy a notch.
Yeah. Oh my God. They can totally die in that.
So yes.
A paladin down there. Let's charge this. Nope.
Not a good idea.
But I like that. I like putting the players, when I run games, I want them to, every combat situation should be kind of almost life and death. They shouldn't go into a fight thinking this is easy, because you're taking a life from someone or something, and that's going to defend themselves. And especially if it's a beast, if it's an animal, I try to kind of control that as much as I can. It depends. Sometimes you just get overwhelmed. There was another question. Eva Shambles, I can't remember if we've already asked this. Eva Shambles, what was the most helpful lesson to you as you have become a DM and a writer?
Ooh. The most valuable lesson from writing, or
the question is, what was the most helpful lesson to you that as you have become a DM and a writer? So I go skills that kind of transfer as as you're writing adventures, how you then take your writing to the table, and how do you present that information as a DM,
or how you run things as a DM. Did that inform you when you were writing the adventure and laying it out as well? I think it's probably different for a DM writing an adventure, because you approach it in a slightly different way than maybe just a writer would if they haven't DM'd. Not that I know, but that's how I would see it.
Should I?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. I hope I'm answering the question now, but one thing that immediately comes to my mind for myself is that, and this is something that I still fail to do all the time, it drives me nuts, but it's the importance of getting critical information into the player's hands. So if there are if there is information they need to proceed in the adventure, or just have a good time, or to make sense of what's going on, they need to have that. Someone or something needs to convey that to the players, and it sounds like a given, but it's weirdly easy to miss, because I kept writing adventures way back, and I wrote them, I realized much later, for myself, or first, and then for the dungeon master. So the dungeon master has all this,
all this eye candy information,
Yeah.
but the player is like,
here's
what
some
are we doing
backstory,
here and
here's some
why?
background, this is our motivations, and the players is like, why are all these people so weird? So getting that across to the players is something that I've learned is important and still work on.
It's something that I have on my checklist when I go through. It's like, is this adventure done now? And then I go like, okay, well, this information. So for example, if in the Temple of Tanaris, there's a lot of things that has to do with a temple and the background story. And I'm like, fine, I can write that background story. And the DM will read that and go, ooh, this was interesting. But the players won't know that. And because it's a temple that's underwater, and there's kind of it's very old. So I was like, how can no one is going to be able to tell them about this. But then I came up with the idea that I can have like mosaic floorings, and also people who succeed on religion and history checks, they will know this information and can then share it with the other players. So I think that's a nice way of doing it, where either you can have a little character coming sort of like that they meet, but it's hard to do that in an underwater temple. But otherwise you can have a character that they know, that they meet, who can sort of explain the situation. So if you run an adventure in Feywild, you can have this Feywild character who shows up and explain that, oh, this is the Feywild, this is how we always do it, But if it's otherwise, you can just have it, finding, like in Curse of Strahd, where you find letters and you find, old books or paintings and stuff. And then you can ask character to roll on history or religion and things that, these skill sets that we might not always use that much. So that their players will know it and they can tell the rest of the group.
So nice.
I've got a sort of follow-on question to that.
Good.
You talked about play testing. You play test the adventures before you publish them. So what's the weirdest thing to come out of a play test that's caused you to do a bit of a rewrite? Have any of your players just cottoned onto something that's been in the book you really didn't expect and have gone completely left field with it?
I know that for Before the Stroke of Midnight, I changed the story to become a little bit more complex, because I was like, this is really clever. And our group was like, but actually, shouldn't that be in that case? They kind of figured out too quickly. I was like, all right, this clearly sucks. I'm gonna make that a little bit. So, and I think, but there's a couple of things that you can learn from reading mysteries, or actually, just figure out how to write mystery books as well. How you, for example, hide information in plain sight. So if you describe an area or a desk, you can, if you see it as a camera, the camera is kind of zooming in on the tea mug a little bit too long. In a film, you're like, aha, there's something wrong with the tea mug. And you can do the same thing when you tell a story. Like if you describe the tea mug in detail, people are going to go, there's something wrong with that tea mug, but it wasn't, that tea mug was not, there was no poison in the tea, but you thought so because I tricked you. Or you do the same thing when you describe things, you layer it into, this is all the stuff that you see on the desk. And there's something that hides among that, because the brain can't really, if there's 7 or 8 things that you describe, then you go like, okay, well, that was that was strange, but it's also like, it's easy that it slips under, or that you're missing something like, okay, so there's plenty of letters and they are opened, but where's the letter opener? Was there a letter opener? So things like that. So yeah.
Just to a little public safety announcement. We are now into the last 10 minutes of the Q&A. In a second, I'm just going to hand it over to Steve for a bit. But This is last 10 minutes, so get your questions in. We have still not have chosen a winner. They will be picking a winner very, very soon, and this is the winner for the set of dice. Steve, if you can put the dice link back in so everyone can have a look.
Done.
That was
I mean,
easy.
if someone has missed a question, they can ask it again, maybe, because I think that we've missed one or two to answer.
Yeah,
it
if
in.
we've missed your question, please do just put it back into chat.
Yeah.
Also just a reminder, the Kickstarter is on live right now. If you like everything that they've been saying about this brand new book, do go check it out. Plus, if you go through the process of backing the new upcoming book, you can also pick up, you can add on extra books from the ones that are already out. So do that. Just go and have a look. You won't be disappointed. In fact, I'm doing it right now. So Steve, over to you. So what the idea was, we were thinking, okay, yeah, we'll help reach another stretch goal, but at the moment, as we said, I can't. There's a big gap in the stretch goal because it's like.
Yeah, sorry.
10.
Because we've been updating the stretch goals like pretty much every day now. And every time we do, we have to arrange in Kickstarter with a little margin. It's driving me insane, and I can't not do it. So yeah.
Cool.
Mark, someone asked that. That's your question.
What from Ivonica? What drinks or /snacks would pair well with the campaign?
And I read champagne, so I was like, "Oh, that's nice."
Oh, that's the answer then.
No, I don't know. I'm thinking like bubbly lemonade or something like that.
Yeah, anything sparkling.
Yeah,
sounds like snacks. Oh, that's a tough one.
Ooh, snacks.
Canapés.
Yeah. I'm thinking things for like a picnic, Box Hill type of picnic.
Grapes.
No, a full picnic. Full picnic.
That doesn't really qualify as a snack, does it? A full picnic. Well, it's a good answer.
But you can have you go to Box Hill and bring your blanket and your Dungeons and Dragons, and then you play Dungeons.
Yeah.
If anyone does that and send me a picture, I will reward them with something. I don't know what.
Well, there you go.
But
I think it's the full hamper, and I'm with you. It's got to be champagne or prosecco.
Yeah. So that I am now a backer on the on this campaign, and just to prove it, I will tweet it out. So those of you following Band of Badgers on Twitter at RPG Badgers, there we go. We are now an official backer.
We was talking before we went live about the artist for the latest book, because it's not the person that you usually use. You're talking about your regular artist, so the guy's name you said was Daniel.
So we are using the same artist that we usually work with. We have Alaina Millara, I can't pronounce her name. Anyway, she's amazing. She does all the NPCs and a lot of other illustrations. We have Jana Art. She does a lot of smaller things for the adventure. And then apparently we have me. And then we have Daniel, and I can't pronounce his name either, but he's amazing. He's the one who works for Diablo and Skyrim. And then we have Bookwormling, who did the amazing character sheets with all the small little details with like small roses and letters and God knows what. She was amazing. Yeah. She's amazing. Yeah. She's not.
They're all listed. I think they're listed on the campaign page.
Yeah, they're listed on the campaign page. So yeah.
There was a lovely piece in that cover artwork where we know the focus is on the couple, and I've mentioned the lilac flowers, but those roses, you have the red blood dripping down onto the white rose. That was a beautiful touch. That was
that was my idea. I was like, I want it to look like this, but then there should be something that's a little bit that you might not notice directly, but unless you're very sort of perceptive. So yeah, no, I like that idea, and she did it really, really nicely.
It's beautiful. So. I still remember we had a meeting because we have meetings every morning, and that came through from the first pencil sketch to what was almost a complete painting while we were having a meeting, and I was in mid-sentence going blah blah blah. Oh my god! I just turned the laptop around.
It's a beautiful piece, very very subtle, but Just yeah, superb, brilliant, fantastic. Steve, was there any more questions coming in? Thick and fast. We're in the last 5 minutes. We may have to pick a winner. So what the winner is going to win a set of the wedding dice, which is from critit.co.uk. They're a set of pink dice with each dice has a different symbol for the top number. So do go and check out the link. There it is. We will be picking a winner any minute. Get your
So
questions in.
there wasn't another question, but there was a good comment from Mark Waters. So they say, just a bit of feedback that you might find useful. I found out about your company through a sponsored Facebook ad that showed up in my feed. And we do have another question. So it's probably one from earlier actually that we missed. So this is from Ivonica. What advice would you give a new DM for starting this campaign?
I would say have fun with it, and it's your campaign. If you get the book, you decide what you want to include, if you want to change anything. I think it can be a little bit daunting sometimes, especially if you have a lot of information, or if you're like, this needs to be finished tonight, and can I just skip this part? So. Yeah, I would say that, change things if you want to change it, follow the main story, or do whatever you want with it, pretty much. I've seen that happening quite a lot when I've been looking at streamers who've been streaming our adventures, and I'm like, that wasn't in the book, and I'm like, but actually it's awesome. I really enjoy that. It's like when they played What Happened to the Ashwood.
Oh yes.
And someone cast Speak with Animals to all the animals in the cages.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And like that DM did the voices, and the animals were just really weird, and I was like, that was totally not in the book, but this is awesome. So I think that goes for a lot of DM, and like if you're new or if you're not that experienced, or just ignore the imposter syndrome and just have fun and enjoy the game.
Yeah, definitely. Just don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just everyone, even the players are there just to have fun, and so are you. So just enjoy it. It's and it's a great feeling, because once you've done it once, you're hooked. And if you think playing D&D gets you, just wait until the DM chair gets you, because it's a whole.
My world. Destroy the mission.
You become a power mad.
The power.
Megalomaniac.
The power.
Yeah, no, I'm all with you. Not fun unless everyone is dead, right?
See, that's my motto. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Although recently we did actually lose a player, and it wasn't my fault. It really wasn't my fault. We were playing Epic Encounters, and one of my players blew themselves up, like boom, as in dynamite, blew themselves up, flying across the room, and I managed to save them. It's like, okay, look, you wake up covered in rubble. What do you do next?
Use the other explosive.
Use the other explosive and rolled a 1. I was like, oh dear. Well, you tell me what happens. Rather than me telling you, you tell me what happens. She says, right. And it was a bolus of exploding. And I'm spinning it. And it goes around my neck. And it explodes. I was like, I can't save you if you kill yourself. And so the head just went, pop. Okay, you now have to sit there for half an hour while we finish the game. But yeah, it was good. Epic Encounters, go check it out. So we have, we're coming to the end of this. We're just going to keep talking a bit longer if you want to hang out with us. But we are going to put them on the spot and get them to pick a winner. If whoever they pick, what we need you to do is contact Steve, who is Disco8X in chat, and we just need your name and your email address. We'll then pass them over to Tove and Eric, and they will deal with you directly. They will send you the dice. Now, can we take? We've been talking a lot about the current project, the current Kickstarter. When does that get released?
In June. Yes.
June. So it's really the process here is really quick as well.
Yes,
the book quality is fantastic. For those of you who haven't picked up a book, a hardcover book, and you can get these in PDF, softcover, hardcover. Or get a retail pack and you can have 5 and give them to your friends. You know, Christmas comes every year.
I think
buy it and give them out as gifts. Why not? And as we know, they make excellent wedding presents now. So there you go. But what's next? What's next after this one? What's the next project? What can we tease? When is it coming? What's it going to be about?
Well, it's very likely to be Hunter's Full Moon. Getting Hunter's Full Moon in print, I should say. So giving Hunter's Full Moon the same kind of treatment that we gave Secrets of the Drow, going back to that adventure, making sure it's fit for print and overhauling it, adding a compendium, which we're really looking forward to do. And it's the first one in the whole saga.
Yeah.
So it's obviously
so we have like, this is book number 2. This is book number 3. And this is book number 4. But where is book number 1?
Nowhere to be found.
Exactly. And when we did Secrets of the Drow, people were like, oh, that's excellent. When are you doing Hunters from Moon? And we're like,
yes.
So yeah, I think I want to do that as well. It's not just we have to, but so yeah. And I think we will probably do that during the autumn.
Yes. Hope so.
Okay, now, for those of you watching, Steve has did start with book 0. Clearly not computer scientists. So Maverick you've just seen it in live chat there. Maverick, it's just said clearly not computer science. Didn't start with book 0.
Good one.
So Steve has been putting all the questions into the Zoom chat because that's what we're using to do this. And it's over to you guys. You're going to have to pick one, pick a winner.
Yeah.
If I could do a drum roll, I would.
We missed this one, so you need to answer that one. Big of Pete's.
Oh, what's Austen's best story in your opinion?
That's a question that we haven't answered.
Yes, we missed that one.
No, you do that.
I do that. Okay, because I have read, I need to own up, I only read 3 of her works.
Leave this room now.
I am leaving this room.
Shame.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm divorcing him.
So, and I'm going to go with the cop-out answer, which is Pride and Prejudice, because it is the one I like the most between those. Emma might be my favorite protagonist, but story-wise, yeah, because there's sort of such a wealth of things going on in that novel, which makes it such a joy to read. You?
And I say Sense and Sensibility. So yeah, breaking the...
Yep.
But the best question, I think that was from, this one.
I like that too.
Yeah, I would definitely give that to Ivonica. So, because she asked if we write mysteries and campus, do you tend to write it backwards and starting writing at the end of the story, or do you write it linear? And I think that was a brilliant question, and it's also a brilliant recommendation to anyone who is thinking about writing their own mystery adventure. So figure out who the villain is and how they did it, and then you can just plot backwards. That's my choice.
Yeah, I agree.
So congratulations.
But tons of good questions. Thank you.
Well done, Ivonica. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We're gonna just hang out for another couple of minutes, just while Disco sorts out Ivonica's details. Ivonica, we just need a full name and email address, and then as soon as we go off camera, we'll just pass those details over to Tove and Eric. So Steve is Disco in chat to just go and whisper each other. I don't know what we do on Twitch. just twitch each other. I don't know if that's a thing. Mark Walters put in chat there. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. We were talking about that before we went on air. I'm a big fan of that. I did enjoy it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I had no expectation of that one. I was like, I'm gonna watch it, and then I was like, 50 minutes in, I was with my popcorn. I was like, this is amazing.
I read it. It came out years ago. I read the book, and then they did a comic adaptation of it, and the comic was done really, really well. And then there was like rumors of it's going to be a movie. I was like, no. And it was like this kind of TV movie and bits and pieces. And it was good. I was like,
it's
wow.
really good.
Yeah. They're doing a whole dance scene and then the blades are coming out. It's fantastic. It's great.
It's gory. And then, I watched it with our daughter. And it definitely a mom and daughter bonding.
Something to watch with your kids. There we go. This is what it's about: zombies.
Exactly.
What's up in Midnight Tower?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So just to point out to Toby and Eric in Zoom chat, we've got the details there. Thank you very
brilliant.
much,
Yes.
Ivonica.
Brilliant.
Right. If everybody is happy, do go and check out the Kickstarter. We can't say it enough. I'm a backer now. I backed the previous book. And that's only because, again, I've checked out, we got in touch. I checked out some of their books. It's really well put together. Again, we're talking about how you write stories and how you piece them together to play those games. Do check out the stories. We can't say more good enough things about them. And hopefully we'll be seeing Toby and Eric again on maybe some games or the next Kickstarter or whatever. We're always happy for them to turn up.
We'd love to be here.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Thanks for having us.
And actually, here's a question: are we going to see you at some conventions? UK Games Expo is coming up. It's in June.
We have talked about just going on one incognito.
Yeah.
Because we
roles.
need to figure out how that works, like if you have a table and stuff. And I'm like incredibly introverted and very shy. So I think we have to go and spy on a couple of conventions and then later on maybe just butch up and have our own little booth.
Because
but we have talked about the one, where was that? Was it Birmingham?
It's in Birmingham, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's one in Birmingham and then later one in London.
That's the
Yeah, so UK Games Expo is in Birmingham. That's in June, bank holiday weekend for us. And in December, usually the first weekend in December is Dragon Meet in London.
That's the one. Yes.
And that's a one-day event. And there are, you just get a table, you put a pile of books on there, and you just, as people come over, you just talk to them. Everyone is lovely. The community there is fantastic. We've just been talking to. Okay, we've got a small audience live joining us, but this will go on YouTube.
And
so
I'm
then
freaked out
everything
about
else.
that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I can just hide under the table. You can take care of it.
Disembodied voice under the table.
No, that would be weird.
But it's something we've talked about it for a very long time, and we'd love to go. It's just we've never been to them because there's just been tons of other things happening. In our
Well,
lives.
there's also been a pandemic for 2 years, so. But I think the one in Birmingham sounds right because Toby was going to that. Toby's doing our maps for a lot of our adventures.
Yeah.
He's Dark Realms maps. Toby Lancaster, he's lovely, and so he's going there. So it would be nice to just sort of tag along and meet a little bit of people, but maybe and then see how they sort out their booths and we can copy
so we know what's happening. The last convention I went to was in 1989 in Stockholm and had 20 people. So
that sounds perfect. I want to go to that.
The Big Tough Pete. He is part of the Ultimate Games Master software company. He's currently Big Tough Pete is currently living in Germany, but he's coming over to the UK. He's going to be there, so he's going to have a stand. The guys we've met at Cerberus Studios, they'll be there. The Free League team will be there. People that we can introduce you to, even if you just turn up on the day. Me and Steve will be there, happily, buy you a cup of tea that you have to carry around, which the burning hot volcanic cup of tea that the styrofoam does not protect. The paper cups are useless, but that's UK Games Expo for you. But there's it's just tons of stuff to do. You can play games. You can just all the shops are there, big sellers, small sellers, and people like yourselves who are creators and doing something, and it's to find that new audience is great. And if you need someone to stand there and shout how good you guys are, I will happily do that for you. If you want to run a game or anything, we'll do that. So
we need to go.
You just have to let us know.
We need to go.
Even as you said, incognito, just go and feel the vibe.
Wear a mask. No one will recognize you. You're just 2 meters tall. That won't you'd blend in everywhere. No.
Not even.
Yeah, so again, it's a really good crowd. And then if you want something a bit more quiet, that's Dragon Meet in London.
Yeah.
You've got 2 or 3 floors of the hotel. Again, there's gaming areas, but there are other creators just like yourself who've published their books. doing the same thing and getting their names out there.
We need to make this happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think so. It'd be cool. So that's it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. Do check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/bandofbadgers. Please do subscribe because we need all the help we can get. And this video will go up over the weekend. Check it out there. Share it with your friends, your families, your pets, your cats, your goblins, whoever you know, aliens. I don't care. Just share it with everyone. And that's it. We'll see you again soon. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.